Eastern mystics. Dark Ages. Dark Ages. The idea of the Dark Ages was by European scholars contrived to account for the supposed break between classical and later European civilization, a notion based on the false supposition that the Greeks and Romans were somehow the ancestors of the Europeans. According to Janet El Abu-Lughod, in Before European Hegemony, the fall of Rome was a gradual process and did not affect all parts of the empire equally. Therefore, the Dark Ages refers exclusively to northwestern Europe. Europe had traditionally served as a ready source of slaves who worked the large agricultural estates of the Romans. The weakening of the Roman Empire allowed European tribes among the Gauls, Vandals, and Visigoths to finally launch successful invasions. It had been these northern barbarians who had been responsible for nearly extinguishing the light of the Roman Empire, when the Visigoths, under Alaric, sacked Rome in 410 AD. Modern Europeans are not direct inheritors of classical civilization. Contrary to popular belief, the arts and sciences of antiquity were introduced to them by way of the Muslims. During the early Middle Ages, a new power appeared on the scene, a threat that would ultimately contribute to the Crusades. The impetus behind this great expansion of the Arabs, that led to the collapse of the Persian Empire, and seizure of much of the territories of the former Roman Empire, was the religion of Islam, revealed to Muhammad in the 7th century AD. The capital of the Roman Empire had already been transferred to Constantinople, in the eastern arm of the empire, known as Byzantium. In the east, the Persian Empire continued to dominate. In the 3rd century AD, the Parthians, weakened by repeated Roman invasions, were replaced by the Sasanians, an Iranian dynasty who extended the empire's boundaries, and challenged Roman power in the Middle East. Following Muhammad's death in 632 AD, the spread of Islam continued at a very rapid pace. A series of famous caliphs, meaning successors, named Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman, and Ali, united the Arab clans for great raids into Syria and Mesopotamia. Within an amazingly short period of time, the Muslims completely conquered the Persian Empire of the Sassanids, Egypt, and though unable to take the city of Constantinople itself, stripped the Byzantine Empire of its eastern provinces. The Arabs also extended Islam eastward to the Indus River and the frontiers of China, and westward into North Africa, and toward the end of the century, Byzantine rule over the coast of Africa was ended by a maneuver which drove the Greeks from Carthage. By defeating Ali, the 4th caliph, Muawiyah became successor and transferred the seat of authority from Mecca to Damascus, placing the caliphate firmly in the hands of the Umayyad family. Opposition accelerated against the Umayyads, who were finally overthrown by the Abbasids, led by Abu al-Abbas, a descendant of an uncle of the Prophet Muhammad. It was at the end of Abbas' reign, with the accession to the caliphate in 754 AD of his brother, Abu Ja'far, that the true inauguration of the great era of Arab rule began. This ancestor of the next 35 caliphs took the title of Al-Mansur, meaning rendered victorious. In 762 to 766 AD, Al-Mansur built a new capital at Baghdad near the site of the ancient city of Babylon. From the corners of the known world royal embassies came bearing gifts and seeking the favor of the Caliph of Baghdad. This was the world that produced the Arabian Nights, tales replete with magical and occult lore, through which the magnificence of the court at Baghdad of Al-Mansur's successor Harun al-Rashid became renowned in the West. The splendor of the Abbasid regime was enhanced by their generous patronage of artists and artisans of all kinds. Many of the arts and techniques of handicraft of China, India, Iran, and the Byzantine Empire, and those of the early civilizations of Greece, Egypt, and Mesopotamia were studied by the Arabs. From the Greek philosophers, the Muslim scholars, writing in Arabic, created a school of philosophy that had a profound and recognized influence on Christian philosophers of medieval Europe. By the middle of the 9th century the main works of Aristotle, Plato, Euclid, Ptolemy, Hippocrates, Galen, and Hermetic works, had been translated into Arabic.